I never imagined the woman I loved would betray me, but by the time I realized, the production was already in motion. I'm Jace Calderon, a 29-year-old screenwriter navigating Hollywood's ruthless terrain. My girlfriend, Serafina Vacera, an up-and-coming actress, drifted into my life like a dream. We shared a cramped Silver Lake apartment, surviving on instant noodles and ambition. But just as our big break seemed within reach, I noticed something off. Sarah was glued to her phone, her laughter laced with secrecy. She claimed it was her close-knit circle, Leora, Tatum, and Nova, planning a celebration. But her shifty eyes and whispered texts told another story. Then one night, a message from Leora flickered on her screen. "Don't worry, he's going to shake everything up, but it'll be worth it." A chill crawled down my spine. Who was he? What was being set in motion? The signs multiplied. Sarah guarding her phone, avoiding my gaze, deflecting my questions. My father once warned me, big dreams come at a cost. I didn't listen. Then came the Hollywood Cafe meeting with producer Hal Renwick. Just as I pitched my script, Leora walked in, urgent, intense, whispering into her phone. "Vegas, special guest. He knows how to shake things up." I gripped my coffee, my world unraveling. Hal confirmed my worst fear. Sarah's role wasn't secure. The studio wanted a headline-worthy scandal to cement her rise. That night, she spoke to me sweet as ever, packing for Vegas. But I knew something was coming, and I wasn't ready for the price. Before we dive deeper, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop a comment below, and if you're hooked, hit subscribe. The revelations ahead will leave you breathless. She assured me it was nothing, just a casual escape with friends. But her pause, brief yet loaded, left the silence thick between us. She recovered quickly, her voice crisp, rehearsed. "I'd know everything soon," she claimed. A surprise. After we said goodnight, I lay awake, unable to shake the unease. Streetlights cast restless shadows across the ceiling as I hovered over the purchase button of a tracking app. Was this paranoia or self-preservation? The memories stacked against her. Averted glances, hushed conversations, cryptic warnings. I clicked buy a disposable phone, cash transaction, no digital footprints. The decision was made. Installing the tracker was disturbingly easy. I knew her password by heart. Soon, a crimson dot marked her route, northeast from LA to Vegas. Restlessness turned to resolve. I packed a bag, grabbed my keys, and hit the interstate. The Honda's engine roared beneath my hammering pulse. This wasn't about distrust, I told myself. It was about truth. 4 hours later, Vegas glowed like a predator's grin. The tracker stopped at an upscale resort. I watched from a distance as Sarah and her friends, carefree, laughing, checked in. And then, from the shadows, he appeared, Rex Jericho, the scandal-ridden tabloid prince. Their arms brushed as they whispered, too familiar. My stomach twisted. I moved quickly. A staged, clumsy collision, an apology, and in that moment, my hand slipped a recording device into her purse. 2 hours in my car. The dot on my screen unmoving. I activated the receiver. White noise crackling before voices filled the space. Laughter, music, and then Rex's unmistakable arrogance. "Shall we discuss the arrangement?" Leora's voice charged with anticipation. "The studio will back Sarah. If she plays along." Sarah hesitated. "I need to be cautious." Rex scoffed. "A romance with me will launch your career. The media will eat it up. Even him, he'll believe it." Silence. Then laughter. Hers. Sharp. Mocking. "Jace won't suspect a thing. It's my only way out of these supporting roles." A dagger to the heart. My world fractured. I shut off the receiver, but her voice lingered, haunting me. My hands clenched the wheel, but I wasn't ready to confront her. Not yet. By dawn, I was back in LA, the recorder a weight in my pocket. My apartment now a stage for deception. She returned later, exhaustion in her eyes, arms wrapping around me like nothing had changed. "How was Vegas?" I asked, feigning indifference. She smiled. The same smile that once felt like home. "Just drinks and silly moments with the girls." A lie, effortless and polished. I said nothing, just watched, waiting. Then my phone rang. Hal Renwick, my producer. My screenplay had been greenlit. And then, casually, he added, "Industry whispers say Sarah's up for a lead. Not for her talent, but because of the media buzz. You should celebrate her success. Success, built on betrayal." That night, I met Cale, and Soren drowning my fury in beer and distractions. I proposed a pact. No impulsive decisions until my script was in pre-production. They toasted, unaware it was my lifeline, my tether to patience. Returning home, Sarah was asleep, her phone buzzing beside her. Leora's message flashed. "Everything's set in motion, don't worry." Another buzz, Sarah's sleepy voice in an audio note. "You okay? You feel different." I played my role, reassured her. But as I stared into the darkness, I wondered, was she truly asleep? Or was she watching me, the way I had watched her? This wasn't over, not by a long shot. The game had begun, and I intended to win. I took action, transforming that damning audio into a visual exposé, layering it with my own commentary. Detached, precise, lethal. Some truths only emerge when the doors are shut. Transferring it to a USB drive, I secured it in my jacket, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. It arrived sooner than expected. My script's launch celebration was held on a luxurious rooftop in Hollywood, the city lights below glittering like shattered glass. The venue buzzed with producers, designers, actors draped in fake smiles. And at the center of it all, Renwick, ever the kingmaker, basking in attention with a wine glass in hand. Sarah arrived late, as expected. She swept into the room in a sequined dress that devoured the light, commanding every gaze. She wrapped an arm around my waist, whispering words of pride, her touch branding me like a fresh burn. I barely nodded. Across the room, Leora, Tatum, and Nova clustered by the bar, laughing with strangers, their gazes sliding over me as if I were invisible. I knew tonight would change everything. As the party reached its peak, the music softened. I stepped onto the small platform beside the enormous screen set up by the tech crew, gripping the microphone. My voice was steady, distant, almost rehearsed. The audience applauded. Sarah stood close, her smile a polished mask, but I saw the slight tremble in her grip around her champagne flute, as if she sensed the storm coming. I met Cale's gaze and gave a subtle nod. He pressed play. The screen blazed white. Then my voice filled the rooftop, sharp and merciless. The recording unfolded. Every deception, every betrayal laid bare. Rex Jericho's oily tone slithered through the speakers, presenting his proposition. Then, Sarah's unmistakable laugh. "Jace will never find out. This is my path to stardom." Silence. Then chaos. Gasps rippled through the crowd, whispers a rising crescendo. Sarah's champagne glass slipped from her grasp, shattering. She lunged at me, gripping my shirt, voice raw with desperation, pleading, lying. But I only stared at her, seeing nothing but a hollow reflection of someone I once loved. Leora's voice cut through the noise, screaming accusations, but her words drowned in the uproar. Tatum stood frozen, pale as death. Nova wept, hands pressed over her mouth. Cale moved beside me, murmuring, "Madness, Jace." But brilliant. I didn't wait for the aftermath. Cale, Soren, and I walked out, Sarah's broken voice chasing me. The elevator doors sealed shut. Cale clapped me on the back. "One path destroyed, but you just made history." Soren smirked. "Hollywood will never forget tonight." I leaned against the wall, breathing deep. The weight in my pocket, that recorder, felt lighter. On that stage, I had ensured Sarah would never rise again. But had I lost myself in the process? Weeks passed. Hollywood burned with speculation, but I was gone. Packed my life, left Silver Lake, and vanished into Austin, Texas. No industry sharks, no backstabbing ambition. Just clean air, real music, and Vesper. A woman untouched by the filth of fame. With her, I found something I never had before. Peace, but ghosts never rest. 2 years later, sitting in a quiet Austin coffee shop, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Sarah's voice cracked through the speaker, trembling, splintered. Jace, it's happening again. I thought I escaped, but this morning someone threw a bundle of photos through my window. Stills from that video. A note was attached. Don't think you can run. Tears choked her words. Accusations followed. Did you do this? Have you been haunting me all this time? I stayed silent. Images of Vegas. Rex Jericho's smug grin. The games played in the shadows. It wasn't me, I finally said. I let you go. She didn't believe me. She screamed, called me a monster, then hung up. I stared at my untouched coffee, unease crawling up my spine. Then a message from Kale flashed on my screen. Vegas is handled. You owe me a beer. My blood ran cold. I called him. He picked up laughing. Relax, Jace. I just made sure she never forgets what she did. No one hurts my friends and walks away clean. A warning, he called it. Retribution. I didn't know whether to feel grateful or horrified, but I knew this cycle wasn't over. Sarah wasn't the only casualty. Leora was blacklisted. Hollywood turning its back on her the way she had on me. Tatum vanished, retreating to some farm far from the spotlight. Nova, broken, drifted through run-down venues, drowning her voice in alcohol. And regret. And me, I had changed, hardened, wiser but colder. Only Vesper kept me from slipping further into the abyss. One quiet night under a sky full of crickets and distant dreams, I told her everything. She listened, then squeezed my hand. Ambition is the most dangerous drug. You almost overdosed. I exhaled, finally understanding. Fame doesn't just take careers, it devours souls. But the game wasn't over, because somewhere in the heart of that city someone else was still playing. And this time I wouldn't just survive, I would win.